for YouTube later on. And that's also on. So for those of you who are tuning in, whether you're on Facebook Live or YouTube later on, once the show is uploaded, I want you to know you're in for a treat because we got Food Sanity Guy. Are you going to hold your book up? Because I don't have my book. I must have lent it to somebody.
Food Sanity.
We are getting a copy, a signed copy of Dr. Friedman's book. And it is time to learn and grow together. We're going to talk about new things out there, new things that'll make us insane. But instead, we're going to be sane with Dr. David Friedman. So fasten your seatbelt. We're going to learn and grow together. And I know that the music's going to cue on and we're going to have our mics muted.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who have been tuning in to the show since 2011, or maybe just yesterday you listened for the first time, welcome back. I've been so glad for your support. I'm happy that you are back joining us in this classroom that is called the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. And for those of you who just tuned in for the first time and you're getting someone on Facebook Live is saying, hey, you need to watch this show, and you're just tuning in, you're rubbing your eyes, you're just a little sleepy, just know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place that you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends at Lillian's Radio Show on Facebook. So go to facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show, and you can watch the show live, interact, and that you will feel like you can embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today we are giving away a book, a signed book by Dr. David Friedman. If you've heard us talk about Food Sanity, Dr. Friedman is a friend of the show, and he is now giving a signed copy away, and we're going to do the 15th caller or texter because everybody loves Dr. David Friedman. And so here we're going to do something different. We're going to focus on the book, the Food Sanity, that is a bestseller, but we're also going to kind of dissect what's going on since the book. What has been going on, some new information. I've received a request from a listener to talk about small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO. That's a new terminology that's out there that maybe has been around. We're also going to talk about little tips that Dr. Friedman has given me throughout the time that we've known each other. Since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I'm so grateful that Doctor of Naturopath, he's a naturopathic doctor and a chiropractor, and you just name it, you just add whatever you want to add. Dr. David Friedman is a wonderful person, a great friend of the show, and I am grateful that he is here to give love and knowledge. So thank you, Dr. Friedman, for coming on the show today.
Great to be back, Lily.
Yes. So share a little bit about your background and how you went from being a chiropractor to learning more of a functional medicine, the side of medicine that's more functional and integrated.
Yeah, well, I started out, I'm a have a family of 3 medical doctors. So my dad, and his dad were medical doctors. And so I grew up very medically oriented, and he injured my back. And my mom says, hey, let's take you to a chiropractor. Of course, you know, she snuck me there. And
Yeah.
what happened was I got better in literally a few weeks with this man's hands. And I said, you know, wow, if this man can do that with his hands, I was told that I needed surgery because I had a herniated disc is what I was diagnosed with. It's like, wow, no surgery, no anesthesia. So I went on to become a chiropractor and excelled in neurology, wrote a book on neurology, ended up teaching neurology, get a degree in neurology. And while I'm teaching neurology, with my textbook that I wrote on the topic, one of my students said, hey, Dr. Friedman, you tell us that the brain and the spinal cord controls the body. What controls the brain and the spinal cord? It was a great question. I thought about it. It was pretty easy to answer. Food. Food controls the essence of who we are. It controls our brain and spinal cord. So I said, wow, if I wrote a book on neurology, I want to take this to another level. And that's when I started researching food as medicine. And then I got into practice. And with all my degree, I got a certification in functional medicine. So I really knew how to focus in on the body. And there were people not getting better until I changed their diet. And one lady had severe leg pain all night, kept her up, could hardly walk. And it's about 4 weeks in, and I couldn't help her. And I said, listen, I'm good at getting rid of leg pain and sciatica. What are you doing before bed? You say it bothers you at night. She says, oh, before bed, I drink a big glass of milk. I said, ching, 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 milk creates inflammation. That could be creating the spasm in your leg. Get off milk. She goes, really? She got off milk, Lily. 3 days later, pain went away. I could have worked on her for 6 months and not fixed her. I had to change her diet. Food has medicine, has the power to heal, but it has the power to harm. And that's the key in my book. I show which is which.
Yeah, and you go through all these fad diets and all the myths that are out there with foods. We've done several shows. For those of you who want to go, multiple shows, if you want to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, you can check out the shows with Dr. David Friedman, because there's so much information. There's so much we don't know. And it's great to have someone who knows a little bit more than you, a lot more than you, or maybe you can help educate somebody else. And so it's been so wonderful. The things that I've learned from you, Dr. Friedman, have been wonderful. For example, one of the shows that we did, we were talking about asthma and how to help heal the inflammation in the lungs. And you had mentioned lobelia. And I started taking lobelia, and I don't need as much vitamin C anymore.
Awesome.
And that's been a great change for me. Not that I don't want vitamin C, but I don't need as much. And so I am so grateful every time Dr. David Friedman is on the show, and we get to have this wonderful conversation. So join us at Lillian's Radio Show on Facebook. And you can also join us at whenyouneedafriend.com. And we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide. Here we go.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Okay, so for those of you now, Dr. Friedman, did you share on your Facebook page the live stream?
No, it wouldn't go through. I was going to do it on my phone. It froze up.
Oh, okay.
We'll share it after.
Yeah. So right now, for those of you who are tuning in, let us know where you're listening from. I love learning where you guys are all from. If you have a question for Dr. David Friedman, you are willing to, just make a comment, whatever it is. Oh, I forgot to mention, be the 15th message that I get. For those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, you get an opportunity to be the 15th caller or texter or messenger. So I will look and see what time they come in, and then we'll figure out who gets it for this broadcast, this live broadcast. So the number is 407-373-5959 if you'd rather text or call. Or if you can send me on Messenger, you can send a message, and if you're the 15th caller. So you will get the copy of this book. Are you going to hold the book up, Anna?
I will hold it up, Ed.
There we go.
Good
I
Saturday.
told
They
Dr.
coming out?
Friedman, I told Dr. Friedman that I did not have the book. I must have lent it out, or maybe I just got it in PDF. I don't know. And I'm tearing everything up. I'm looking through all the books that I have, all the libraries that I have from all the people and I'm like, what happened to my book? So I don't know who has it, or maybe I never got one, but I want an autographed copy. This is an
We'll send
autographed
you.
copy. Brandy McQuillan is in Nashville, Tennessee. Oh my gosh, in Music City. Thank you so much for listening. And so here we are today. We are with Dr. Friedman. So Dr. Friedman, is there anything today that you want to tell our Facebook fan listeners, or facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, they're going to blow their socks off today?
See, so many things. Yeah, I would say that the big thing is, my book is about food, and really what I've learned beyond that is really focus in what's inside food, what's wrapped around your food, and even what you cook your food on, because there's chemicals in there.
Oh yeah.
It makes food unpure, and it makes food toxic, but it's not food. It's how we treat food. It's how we process food. So really you want to go back to nature. And people always say, should I eat like a gorilla and go vegan? Should I eat like a caveman and go paleo? I say, no, eat like your great-great-grandparents.
When you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show /classroom. And our teacher today is Dr. David Friedman. And he is the author of the book, Food Sanity. Vanna, are you going to hold? So for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show, Dr. Friedman is holding up his book.
Food
And
Sanity.
he is giving away a signed copy of his book, and be the 15th caller, texter, messenger. If you're watching on YouTube later on, you can email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. The phone number to call or text is 407-373-5959. So, Dr. Friedman, you were talking about the importance of eating like our grandparents. And that's one of the things that you have researched and have become very convinced about. So what does that mean?
Well, for example, people come in, they're overweight, and they say, oh, I got it from my genetics. And I said, well, you can't blame your genes and why you can't fit into your genes. And here's the reason. In the early 1900s and late 1800s, if you look at those photographs, you've seen them, the black and whites with all the family.
Yeah.
Nobody's smiling back then, but I don't know why, because they were all thin. There was nobody that was overweight. In fact, 3% were overweight back then. Today, fast forward, look at a family portrait. I challenge you to find somebody that's not overweight. We're 70% overweight now, 3% then. Therefore, we can't blame our great-great-grandparents, can we?
No.
We can't. Because guess what? They ate the same food as we did. They ate pizza and they ate chicken and they ate vegetables and they ate the same food, but it's different today. It's so much chemicals and antibiotics and hormones. So really, it's not DNA. You have to look at what you eat and what's inside of it. Eat like they did. They didn't have all these hormones. So you really want to say, all right, what did my great-great-grandparents ate? That's what I want to kind of focus on. Not eating like a gorilla, not necessarily eating like a caveman. Eat like your great-grandparents did.
Yeah. So yesterday we had Dr. Suhas, who is world-renowned expert on Ayurvedic medicine. And he was saying, well, it's not what you eat, it's when you eat it. It's not that you exercise all the time, it's when you exercise. And so do you feel that was something that was forgotten as well? And the timing and the circadian clock that we all have ourselves?
Yeah, I think that when, back in the day when it was dark, we went to bed. And when it was light, we woke up. Now we're bombarded with all this electricity, and we got the big, the tablets in our faces and our phones. And you're right, this light messes up our pineal gland, which affects sleep. And guess what? That's another thing about weight loss. If you're not snoozing, you're not losing. Research shows if you're not getting at least 7 to 8 hours of deep restorative sleep, you cannot lose weight. I don't care how much you diet. I don't care how much you exercise. If you're not sleeping properly, you mess up ghrelin, leptin, and cortisol. That's a hormonal perfect storm for weight gain, because ghrelin makes you eat like a felon. I call it ghrelin the felon, because you're in the kitchen on parole and you want to eat. Leptin is the voice of reasoning saying, hey, you better stop. You've had enough pie. So that goes lower. So you don't have the voice of reasoning. Then you have cortisol, which is the belly fat. That's the stress. So studies show if you get deep restorative sleep, those balance, and you can actually lose 2 to 3 pounds a week if you got deep restorative sleep. So in my book, I show you why we're not sleeping and how to get better sleep.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about sleep, a little bit more about the ghrelin, lectin, and cortisol. That sounded like you were talking about the Three Stooges, you know?
Wise guy, eh?
Yay! And so so let's talk a little bit about that, because, you know, yesterday when we were talking about, you know, the importance of our circadian clock and the things that we're doing to keep ourselves, we didn't dive in too much into that. So maybe we can start with sleep, because this is something that we all push. And I am so committed, Dr. Friedman, to restorative sleep. And it's a new commitment, because I didn't realize what I was doing to my body. I just thought, okay, one more email, I'll respond. But the blue lights that are causing this rhythm in our body to malfunction. So if you can share a little bit more of how we can establish some healthy sleep hygiene.
Yeah, well, one thing is the American Journal of Epidemiology did a study, and they found that the average female gets about 6.3 hours of sleep, and men only get 5.6. So we're way under that 7 to 8. So yes, there is.
What are you talking about?
Yep.
Say that again.
6.3 hours for females and 5.6 for men. That's the average night's sleep that they get. We don't sleep. We toss and turn. We don't get that deep restorative sleep. A lot of it is the blue light. If you've got a cable box that has a little blue light on that, go and get a little piece of tape over that. If you have a blue light on your cell phone charger, I've got an air purifier. It's got a little blue light. What's with the blue lights? Why blue? But it seems to always be blue. You want to put a little piece of tape or something over that. And the other thing is sounds. We tend to wake up with sounds. It could be just, you know, dogs barking, traffic going by. And Lily, I'll never forget this. I kept waking up at 4:30 in the morning, every day, 4:30. Well, I could sleep till 7:30 or 8. I'm getting up at 4:30. Why am I getting up? I didn't know. Well, one day I got up at 4:15, go to the bathroom. I'm laying in the bed. And at 4:30, I heard my neighbor's truck drive right by my house. And I realized that's why I was getting up every day. So I got the little foam pads in my ear. Next day I slept till 7:45.
Wow.
It didn't wake me up. So a lot of times it's these sounds that you have to really worry about. And it could just be something, a distant dog barking, that brings you out of that deep sleep that we don't realize.
You know, interestingly enough, whenever we would travel, my husband and I, or when I traveled by myself, it doesn't matter. I would lily size the room. I would cover all I would even put a piece of tissue in the peephole at the hotel. And my husband at first started laughing at me, but then he started helping me. And the room had to be pitch black. And I remember going on a cruise one time, and I didn't have to do a thing, because I said, I want to be in the inside. I don't want to be outside, because then I'd have to cover the holes, the balcony. I have to, I want to be able to sleep in the dark so that I can actually sleep. So there were two things, and I kept getting woken up as well. And so I can't do the foam ear, because my ears, I don't know, I'm smaller or whatever, but I got the gels, and I wear a silk mask now. And now I don't care what it looks like, but sometimes I move around and it falls off. So you should see me. I'm a sore eyes when I go to bed, because I have to protect, because I'm very, very sensitive to sound. And the phone is not allowed in our room. Yeah. Nothing that has a frequency is allowed in our room. And I'm sleeping much, much better.
Yeah,
so
you can use, but even a white sound, the white sound, that's something that people can do as well.
That wakes me up, though.
Me too. Yeah, I'm one of those.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I need quietness, but some people can do that light, like the noise, the light. It's like a white sound, just this humming. There's certain frequencies. There's apps you can get where you can put in your ear, and it's got a certain low tone. That's a
Yeah.
frequency that actually helps the brain. A lot of different things out there, but me, I like it just quiet. I like it.
Quiet and dark.
And literally, the way I say it is, if you bring your car to your garage, instead of shutting it off, you leave it on, okay? And then the next day you come back 12 hours, after the morning, engine would be hot, and you look at the gas, it would have went a little bit less because you burn fuel at night while it sat there. Same thing if we don't sleep, we're burning fuel. So when we wake up and we don't get that deep shutdown sleep, and we wake up hungry because ghrelin makes you want to eat more. Have you ever been studying, back in the day when you would study and you'd stay up late study, you're starving the next day because when you don't get enough sleep, you need more carbs. You don't crave broccoli. You crave pizza, you crave all this junk food. And so you want to shut yourself down like you shut your car down at night. So that's the key. You want to get that deep restorative sleep, not laying there. It has to be in that deep, deep sleep state.
That's very interesting. Anything else that we can do to establish healthier sleep habits? And I just got a text from Barbara. And thank you, Barbara, for listening today. She says, truck drivers struggle horribly with diet and exercise. Any tips for them that you would have for, I could imagine with sleep being a truck driver as well being an issue, but diet and exercise, what are some of the things that you can recommend for someone who's constantly on the road without an ability to have movement?
Well, the big thing, a lot of truckers that I know, they're down these Red Bull and Monster drinks and caffeine and, keeping that in your system over and over and over. That's tough because a lot of people process it and stays with you. So even if you're having it at 3, 4 in the afternoon, by midnight, a lot of people, that caffeine will keep you awake. So you got to really be cautious of that and keep that very distant from the time you sleep, if not eliminate it. And, that's important. Alcohol, a lot of people have that little before bed drink and it will help knock you out, but it wakes you right up. It's one of the worst things for sleep. You do not get deep restorative sleep with alcohol. So you want to avoid that before bed. Definitely that's one of them. And, certain foods you don't want to have before bed. You don't want to do anything that's going to make you digest. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system. That's when we sleep. That's the time to relax. It's not sympathetic. So when you're in the parasympathetic mode sleeping, you don't want to deal with digestion. So don't eat before you go to bed because then it keeps your body active. It doesn't allow you to get to that deep state.
Well, not only that, it won't allow the body to go through the catabolic and the detoxification of each organ that, this clock that we have, this rhythm that we have fooled it through the blue lights and all the different things that we're trying to lie to ourselves, saying just one more thing. And when I say lie to ourselves, I mean, I do it too. And so I've become so aware of it now, and I'm super committed to making sure that I'm going to turn things off, because I could work all day if I needed to. I could work all day, and then you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is say, okay, who did I took me, what I have to work, but then get on top of things. And I've fallen into this pattern to keep up. And if I get enough sleep, I'll be able to focus better, get things done better. So any last words for sleep, because this is before we move on to anything else.
Yeah, just avoid, like I said, the iPhone and the tablet in your face before bed, because that activates the pineal gland. It thinks that it's daytime. See, it's nighttime outside, but when you put that right in your face, your brain says, oh, we don't need to go to sleep. There's bright lights in my face. So use they've got the nighttime mode if you can do that.
Yes, I was just going to tell you, I just found that. And it goes into this yellow.
Yeah,
get rid of the blues. Glasses. Yeah.
So that's a good one. Or I recommend half hour before bed, keep it away from your face. Just don't even, and then don't wake up at 2 a.m. and can't sleep and check your email, because there you go. Now it's waking you up. So you want to actually keep it dark, keep it mellow, and just get some deep sleep without all this electronics. Plus the EMFs, and that's another topic there.
Oh, don't get me started.
Don't get started on that.
Dr. David Friedman, we joke about how he's my brother from another mother. And very much similar, and I enjoy having him on the show. And you will enjoy having his book. Call 407-373, show me Vanna, 407-373-5959, and be the 15th caller or texter or messenger, 407-373-5959, if you want the signed copy, autographed copy of Food Sanity. It will be yours. And all of you who are tuning in today have an equal chance of being the 15th caller. So I do messages because I don't want people to see when the next one is coming in. So do an instant message and say, I want the book, Food Sanity. And it is, well, the 15th person to do that, it will be for them. And we're talking about the things that are just putting us through a loop where we don't even know that it's affecting us. Food sanity. Food can be a weapon of mass destruction or a tool to heal every cell in your body. And we're going to continue our conversation off the air at Lillian's radio show. So go to facebook.com/Lillian's radio show to listen to the on and off the air conversations. And you can go to whenyouneedafriend.com if you want to stream it as well. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return with Dr. David Friedman worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Dance.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Before we get started on the third segment here and talking off the air, I just want to note for those of you who have been tuning in to the Lillian McDermott radio show and you haven't signed up, please become a subscriber, because if you go to whenyouneedafriend.com and you click on my off the air sponsors like Keep Me Safe Organics, you'll get 10% off your entire purchase. And that's the only cleansers and makeup that I wear. Love, love, love Keep Me Safe Organics. And 0 pesticides, 0 synthetics, all organic, all natural. And also First Alternative Care, that they're an off-the-air sponsor. And that's $35 a month. And you'll get 24/7 telemedicine, dermatology, 3 hours a year of mental health counseling, and that's for $35 a household. So if you're 4 students living in a dorm together, you share that expense, and it's unlimited, 24/7, unlimited help. So if you can't afford your copay, you can afford, sharing it with your family members. And so I just want to share about that. And if you are in the Brevard County area, the pharmacy, Ross Clark, the pharmacy, mention my name, Lillian McDermott, and you will get 20% off your first order with the pharmacy. And so, of course, Liberty Health Share, my sponsor on and off the air. Love all my sponsors. Without them, there would be no show. So I have to also mention this when we go back on the air. So, Dr. Friedman, I didn't mean to take so much time, but I do have to do that. So, here we are talking about healthy sleep. But now what I'd like to talk about and see if, let's see. The roar of the truck engines and constant moving makes sleeping difficult. Any advice for that?
The roar meaning in the truck, you mean?
Yeah, being in the truck.
When it's moving or when it's sitting still, you mean?
I would say, and Brandy, if you could, or Barbara, if you would like to share exactly what you mean. But I'm sure that when you're sleeping in the truck, it would have to stay on, don't you think?
Yeah, if it has to stay on, you might want to then, if it's the vibration, look for a pad that can actually absorb that so you don't feel that. Otherwise, the whole thing's moving, but you can actually change the bottom part that you're sleeping. So get a good foam, maybe memory, something that actually gives where it'll take away some of that vibration.
What about the fumes of the foam? I mean, there's so many different things. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Well, there are some that actually do not have any of the formaldehyde and stuff, so we won't mention names. But there's a couple that I recommend that's really good.
When you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show /classroom. Welcome. You're heard worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we always take 100% ownership of our life and learn from one another. You know, I always ask people to go through life with childlike wonder and with that curiosity instead of criticism. So I want to encourage you to tune in every chance you get. Share this information with as many the shows with as many people you can, so that you can help us grow the show, whether it's on the air in Jacksonville, throughout the state of Florida, or it's on Facebook at Lillian's Radio Show, or on YouTube. You can go to whenyouneedafriend.com and click all those and like me, follow me. Also subscribe to all my channels, and everything gets sent to you. It's that simple. And so with that in mind, I want to encourage you to search throughout the website. There's so many different things that are there, precious conversations, including our teacher today, Dr. David Friedman, who has shared so much of his wisdom. Today we've just talked about sleep, but we're going to start talking about intolerances in our body because food has been changed so much. It's insane, but Dr. David Friedman makes it more sane for us to understand and navigate. And so I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, check out my sponsors. Without my sponsors, there would be no show. So please make sure that you are part of this movement of taking 100% responsibility. You can follow me throughout, podcasts. You can send me a message. And if you want the book, which I'm sure everybody wants, Food Sanity, with Dr. Friedman's autograph signature on there, and there he is holding it up at Lillian's Radio Show. You can follow us there. Be the 15th caller, texter, or messenger, or send me an email, 407-373-5959. That's Lily at whenyouneedafriend.com, or at Lillian's Radio Show. Just message me. Okay, so with that in mind, Dr. Friedman, thank you so much for your passion to share this information so that we can be empowered to be our own medical detectives, our own MDs. So thank you for that.
That's great being here. Yeah, like you just said, be your own detective. And that's my advice to people. Look in the mirror. That's who you can count on. You can't count on labels. You can't count on the FDA, can't count on the government, can't count on your doctor. You really have to take your own health in your own hands.
Yes.
That's so important.
Yes. And so so during the break, we were talking about how our gut gets affected. And we talked, there was a question about sleep and using the foam without any formaldehyde in it that would help our sleep and protect us as well. But through time, we have seen food be altered. And as a result, it's changing our microbiome and creating issues that our grandparents didn't have to deal with. Would you like to update us on that and share any information that's new, even since you've written the book?
Yeah, interesting. 3.8% of the population have an allergy. 38% have a food intolerance. So it's not really an allergy.
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, about 3.8% have an allergy. That's a specific allergy. If they have a peanut, they can go anaphylactic shock. They're allergic. 38% had food sensitivity, food intolerances. This means that it's not life or death. They're not going to be rushed to the hospital. They don't need the EpiPen, but they'll have distress. They can get headaches. They can get dizziness, so forth. And the big one is gluten, right? That's the big buzzword. Gluten's become the redheaded stepchild of food. Stay away from gluten, right? Well,
not that there's anything wrong with being a redheaded stepchild, but go ahead.
Exactly. But the thing about gluten is, talk about our great-grandparents, they didn't have gluten issues. We didn't have gluten issues. People used to be able to eat pizza 20 years ago, and now a bite of it brings them into digestive distress. Gluten now has become such an issue, but it's not gluten. We've been eating gluten for 3.5 million years. It's been documented. The University of Utah discovered that 40% of our diet of our ancestors, caveman ancestors, we're talking cavemen, was gluten-containing herbs. Gluten-containing grain. So we've been digesting it for millions of years. Why all of a sudden now we can't digest it is because our microbiomes are being destroyed. It's not the wheat that's to blame. It's the chemicals being sprayed on the wheat that's destroying it. It's the hormones in our food that we're eating. And it's these chemicals. And what it does is it creates leaky gut. It creates inflammation in our gut. It makes gluten difficult to digest. It's a thick protein. It's tougher to digest, among other foods. But think about it. How come people now that are so gluten sensitive, 20 years ago they weren't? What's changed? It's not the food. It's the stuff we're doing to the food. And that's the big thing. Don't blame food. Food's not to blame. It's what you're cooking your food on. It might be a nonstick cookware that has PFOAs. It's a big word called perfluorooctanoic acid. That's a big word. It's a mouthful, but shouldn't really be a mouthful. And it is if you're cooking this great organic pure food on this wrong cookware, you're absorbing the chemicals. If you get your food and you're cooking it organic in good cookware, but then you're storing it in a plastic container that has bisphenol A, BPA, you're contaminating your food. It kills your microbiomes. It creates this inflammation, leads to obesity because we can't lose weight when our microbiomes aren't functioning, and we're more sensitive to foods.
Okay, so glyphosates. So it's important that we look at non-GMO, right?
Yeah, that would definitely be one. And the little tip that I got, because people say, I don't know if it's GMO. What is it? You know, a lot of people used to think GMO was a car. Now we're getting an idea what it is. Yeah, well, it's a GMO. Is it a car? But what's interesting is, here's a little trick you can do. Follow the numbers. If you look at the PLU code, called the price lookup code on any fruits or vegetables or food, and you look on the back, if it starts with a 9, it's organic. You want that. If it starts with an 8, it's GMO. Stay away. So the saying I to help you remember this is 9 is fine, 8 isn't great. And now you know. 9 is fine, 8 isn't great. And another one, plastics. We talked about plastics. How do you know if it has the BPA? How do you know if it's going to be toxic to your food? Look on the bottom and you'll see the little recycle bin. If you see a number that's 7 or 3, stay away. If it's 1, 2, or 5, it's okay. So here's a saying. 7 or 3, it's not for me. And that way you know to stay away from the plastic that has a 7 or 3. So a little follow the numbers, keep it easy, and that's what I do in my book.
What are the other numbers?
1, 2, and 5 is okay. But if you just remember 7 and 3 is not for me, if you see a 7 or 3, say, I'm not drinking that fluid that's in there, and I'm not putting food in there. And by golly, don't ever put it in the microwave. That really brings it into the food. Yeah, so I don't recommend that at all.
You know, all these warnings, all these years, and they said, okay, well, BPA is great, BPA is not good, and then they changed it to BPB or something like that. And so they're saying that we don't really know if any plastic is good because the testing has not been done. What do you say about that?
Yeah, agreed. You know, when you're doing the microwave, or if you have your plastic containers in the car in the summer and you have the water in, that's the worst thing to do, because heat increases the absorption of these chemicals. Now, there's things where you don't need heat that people don't realize. These thermal receipts that you get at the ATM, when you go to the grocery store and they hand you a receipt, you touch it, it's called free BPA. It's immediately contaminating your fingers. Immediately. If you touch your eyes, nose, or food, it's in your system. So that's the biggest worry, not the plastics. The big one is these receipts. And it's sad, Lily, because people eat healthy and they buy all this organic and they're healthy, and they get the receipt from their food and they touch it. And I saw one guy, he put it, no joke, put it in his mouth, and he's reaching in his wallet, takes it out of his wallet, takes it out of his mouth, puts it in his wallet. So what he did is contaminated his fingers, contaminated his mouth, and his currency. So next time he's reaching for his money, he's getting all these BPA. And you know what? But he had a big pot belly, but he was eating healthy and realized these BPAs are estrogen. It's synthetic estrogen. So it does create the bulging stomach, the man boobs for men, the low testosterone for females. It's been linked to breast cancer. So these are serious. It's life-threatening chemicals. It really is. It's one of the reasons we're so sick as a nation. It is these chemicals we're bombarded with.
Okay, so during, I'm watching some of the questions. Let's talk about paleo. Let's talk about paleo real quick. In your research, what are some of the things that you can share about this new craze, new fad of paleo?
Yeah, I spent a whole chapter really researching, because everyone says, oh, we should eat like our ancestors, cavemen. I said, oh, why? Why should we eat like our cavemen? We're in a different world now, but all right, let's see what they ate. I went in and researched it, and by golly, they are wrong, folks. The cavemen ancestors, proven, were primarily plant-based eaters. Now, you have this vision of this caveman, this 6 foot tall, big guy with his carrying the lion over his shoulder, the saber-toothed tiger, whatever it is, and then the club. That's how the movies and the cartoons portray him. But cavemen were actually 5 feet tall. They weighed 171 pounds. They were clinically obese. So I ask you the question, if you handed a sword or a spear or a weapon to this little oompa and say, go catch a lion, tiger, and bear, go for it. Do you think you have the speed, the stamina, and the endurance to do it? No. So I proved in my book the reason they had weapons were for defense. They were the hunted, not the hunters. Now, would they occasionally kill animals? Yes. Would they eat them? If there was no fruits and vegetables around, of course they would. But given the opportunity and the chance, fruits, vegetables, grains.
Unbelievable. And we're going to, be the 15th caller texter to get the book, Food Sanity. And we are giving it away, 15th caller texter. And for those of you who are watching the pre-recorded show on Facebook Live at Lillian's Radio Show, you also send a message, send me an email on YouTube, all of these different ways. But make sure, I don't care how you do it, just do it. Let's take our health back. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you with Dr. David Friedman.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Okay, I know a lot of you want the book. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us today. And there was a question, and those of you who are in Europe and listening from all over the world, that was the question. Do I qualify if I'm outside of the United States? Is there any way we can get either a copy or a PDF or something to people so that they feel that they can also be a part of it? That was a question that was sent to me.
Yeah, we can do that.
You can? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
yes,
so even if you are worldwide, you can get a book for yourself. So start your engines, because it is time to make sure that you ask for that book, no matter where you live. Keep us telling us where you're from, where you're watching, and if you have any question for Dr. Friedman. And every 4 it goes away. I can't see. After 4, it drops off. So Dr. Friedman, is there anything else of the myths like paleo? What about keto right now? That seems to be a craze.
Yeah, what's interesting about keto is these experts praising keto. If you look 15 years ago, they were bashing Atkins, and it's a regifted, reformulated version of that. And problem with keto is a lot of side effects. Who wants a diet where you get bad breath and you can get brain fog and you can get headaches? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. My mom went on it, tried it, her hair fell out. I get patients whose nails are getting brittle. Folks, it doesn't have to be like that. You can enjoy food, good, healthy food, and not have to starve yourself. Yes. So ketosis, guess who else goes into ketosis? Anorexics. That they'll lose weight doesn't mean it's healthy. Starving children in Africa, ketosis.
Isn't ketosis good for people who have brain cancer? Isn't a ketosis or a ketone diet good for a small population?
Yeah, it's good for a small population, but when everybody's eating bacon every day for breakfast and beef for dinner and hamburgers for lunch, absolutely not healthy. There's a word you're going to hear. Maybe not now, maybe not 5 years, maybe not 10, but it's going to happen. The word is clear, and that's when the doctor puts the pads on your chest. It's not healthy. You're not healthy eating bacon every day. I'm sorry, folks. Show me a study. If it's an unbiased study, I'll be glad to read it and review it. Bacon is not healthy. I'm sorry.
No, and it's in the list for carcinogen.
Yes, big time.
Yeah, they all have these nitrates in them. Okay, Victoria, thank you so much for joining us from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm so excited.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show / classroom, where we're all learning. The teacher is here, Dr. David Friedman, and we're learning about how to empower ourselves and not go insane with all these things that are bombarding us. Food sanity. Be the 15th caller, texter 407-373-5959, and you'll get an autographed copy of the book. Or you can send me a private message on Messenger. That way you get in line for that book as well. And if you're watching later on YouTube, once the show is uploaded onto YouTube, you too can send me an email at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. Claim it, declare it, make it work. Dr. Friedman, there's so many myths out there. And we were just talking about bacon, and you told me before we went on the show, you shared something about a meat molecule. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's pretty well known that the more red meat you eat, the more likely you are to get colon cancer, which is the number 2 killer among cancers. Who says this? Everybody. You've got the Baylor College of Medicine, you got the Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, the World Health Organization. It's kind of known the more red meat you eat, the more you're prone to colon cancer. But we didn't know why until recently. There's been a molecule discovered called NAU5GC, and it exists high in cattle. And we don't have it in our body. And when we eat this, it creates inflammation. Our body attacks it. And these molecules have been found in colon cancer. So mystery solved. We now know why. Once upon a time, we found out smoking was bad for us, but we didn't know why. And scientists said it's the nicotine. We finally knew. We finally know why eating too much red meat has been linked to inflammation. Here's a step further. You ready? We have a molecule in our blood vessels called NAU5AC, which is one molecule different than the molecule that is in cattle. So when we eat it and our body attacks this molecule, it also attacks our vessels with a molecule that's similar. It's an autoimmune reaction, which is why people that eat more red meat are more prone to cardiovascular disease. Mystery solved. We finally know the reason. We've always known it's not been good for us, except these paleo people want to say it is, but show me science that shows eating meat is good for the heart and is good for colon cancer. It doesn't happen. Colon cancer is much more prevalent if you eat red meat.
Okay, so what about pork? Because I was made aware in one of my shows a long time ago, and I'm like, oh my God. And not that I eat pork. I eat a whole food plant-based lifestyle. I follow a nutritarian lifestyle. And so if I do eat animal products, I know the source of it. It's got to be wild caught or,
Right.
humanely treated, but it's very rare that I do have a piece of meat. And so I was told that the reason why we can use pig valves on hearts is because, or the transplants, is because the pig is the closest to our DNA. And that's why it's not rejected. Is there anything, can you add anything to that? Can you confirm?
Yeah, interesting.
Cannibalism.
They've asked cannibals, what does humans taste like? And they said, taste just like pork. So there. So, hey,
are you joking me?
No, next time you eat your bacon, keep that in mind. Maybe I'm getting people off bacon finally. Yes. And the problem here, I'll share the problem with pork is pigs don't sweat. They don't sweat. That's why they wallow in the mud, because they're hot. They don't sweat. So because they don't sweat, toxins remain in their body. And when we eat that meat, especially close to that outer layer, we're eating the toxins. They don't sweat. So if you have to eat pork, oh, I love pork. What can I eat pork? Go with the tenderloin, the center, because keep it away from the outside. In fact, a pig's fat can be so toxic that if a rattlesnake bites a pig, the snake is more likely to die than the pig.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Get out. What other little precious pearls can you share our way and ruin people's bacon and eggs breakfast today?
Let's just say the one other thing I've been getting a lot of on my show, I've been getting a lot of people saying stay away from fruit, the keto diet fruits. And I get people saying fruit's got sugar. And you're right, fruit has sugar. It's called fructose. And that's the end of the story for them, but there's another layer. There's called skin and pectin and fiber, which buffers out the sugar. So it's fine. If you actually eat blueberries, there's a 23% decreased risk of getting diabetes. But blueberries are loaded with sugar, plant sugar. In fact, it's 15 grams per cup of sugar. It's loaded. Now, if you do blueberry juice, that's different. Then it spikes your blood sugar because you're getting rid of all the pulp, all the skin. Same with apple. Studies show there's a 30% decreased risk of diabetes if you have an apple a day. Well, apples are very, very sweet. They're loaded with fructose, which is sugar, but they decrease your chances. So I hate when experts saying get off fruit, they're bad. Fruit is fantastic. Don't get off fruit just because you say, oh, it's got sugar. It decreases your chances. So now there's other certain fruits like grapes. That's got a big glycemic index that spike your blood sugar. So there's certain ones, and in my book I show in Food Sanity I have a yellow, I have green, and I have red. The red means occasionally like a snack. The yellow means moderate, and in green, eat all you want. But again, these folks saying all fruits are off limits, it's wrong. So that's a big myth.
They're comparing an apple to a broom. You're talking about corn fructose or fructose corn syrup versus a natural syrup that has not syrup, sugar. It's a natural sugar that digests slowly, especially when you're eating with fiber. But you said juice. So are you talking about juicing or are you talking about a smoothie? Because that still has the fiber.
Yeah, I'm talking about if you go and would get just apple juice at the store versus an apple. That's different because there's no skins, there's no pectin, it's just purified and it's pure, you're just getting the pure sugar buzz. So then you will get the sugar spike, but not when you eat an apple. That's the difference. I believe in eating our fruits and vegetables, not so much drinking them. I think there's a lot to be said. When you chew, you digest better, because it sends a signal to the brain, to the stomach, what you're eating. It's better digestion. We were designed to chew our food. So again, I think juicing's fine, but don't knock fruits. I think that these people are saying anti-fruits. I said, really? So you go from Adam and Eve, it's like, from the days from the beginning, don't eat fruit. It's like crazy. We have fingers to pick fruits. We have the teeth for fruits. We were designed for fruit.
Absolutely. And I love it. I love it. Okay. So earlier you talked about food sensitivities and of course the meat molecule, and we barely talked about SIBO, the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, but let's talk about dairy and what has been done to dairy.
Yeah, the big thing about dairy is we've been brainwashed because we got this government propaganda saying we have to have it to grow up strong, and children, you got to have milk to grow up big and strong. But children that drink milk get more asthma, more allergies, they get more sinus infection, and their diabetes and more obesity than children that don't drink milk. I will tell you, whenever a mom comes in because she's worried about her child that needs tubes in the ear, I say, does your child drink milk? Oh yeah, all the time. I get off milk. Literally within 2 weeks, the ear clears up. You don't need tubes in the ear. It's one of the biggest causes. It creates inflammation and mucus. But Lily, when I say get off milk, they go, what am I supposed to do for calcium? Well, let's bust that myth right now. Ready?
Yeah.
There is calcium in milk, but before it goes to your glass, it goes through a process called pasteurization, which means it's heated, it's burned off. Just like the bacteria, a lot of the calcium's burned off, so it's insoluble. People say, well, what if it was unpasteurized? Well, hey, it's got plenty of calcium there, but 90% calcium, 10% magnesium. It doesn't even get into the bones unless it's 50-50. You have to have the 50-50 ratio. Guess where you get the 50-50 ratio of calcium and magnesium? From plants.
Yes.
The same place cows get their bones. The same place gorillas get strong bones. Pretty strong bone gorilla, right? What about elephants? Pretty strong bones. They don't need milk. We don't need milk for calcium. Then people say, well, what about protein? Protein in milk is called casein. Casein is also used to make glue to hold together wood. Think of the cow logo on Elmer's glue. It's there for a reason. When we drink this glue-like substance, our body attacks it, creates histamines, creates inflammation, and it accelerates cancer growth. Think about it. Casein was designed to turn a 100-pound calf into a 2,000-pound cow. Why would we put it in our little bodies? Would you put rocket fuel in your moped? No, it's too big. We don't need rocket fuel.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to continue our conversation off the air, but Dr. Friedman is always wonderful. when you are on the show. For those of you who want to learn more, go to drdavidfriedman.com. All the information is on my website, and we're going to continue our conversations later. So thank you, Dr. David Friedman.
Thank you.
And for those of you, it's time to stop the sanity. Get food sanity. Be the 15th caller, texter. Make sure you keep doing that. And we're going to continue our conversation. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
You have? How much time do you have, Dr. Friedman?
Again?
How much time
Yeah, I'm
do you
good.
have?
I'm interviewing Bonnie Hurry, the food babe, in an hour, so we are good.
Ah, okay. So you have about an hour. Okay, we're going to take maybe more questions. If you have any questions, let's real quick. For those of you, Dr. Friedman also has a podcast that he does. Share a little bit about your podcast, Dr. Friedman.
It's toyourgoodhealthradio.com. I've been doing syndicated radio for 20 years, and now we're doing To Your Good Health, which is listen as your leisure, the podcast. I think it's the new way. People like with TV, they like to see it at their leisure rather than got to get home by 8. So people are really gravitating toward that. So you can listen when you want to Your Good Health Radio. I'm interviewing Jay Leno next week, so I'm excited.
Yeah, you need to hook me up with Jay Leno.
I'll hook you up with Jay.
You gonna hook me up with Jay? Okay, we'd love that. We'd love that.
Hey, that doesn't mean a joint, folks. She's not saying to hook me up with a J. That's another slang for a joint. Yeah, you got to stress that.
You're so funny. It's so great when we after the show, we don't usually have this. It's usually just you and I usually have tears rolling down my eyes by the time I say goodbye to my brother from another mother.
And my sister from another mister.
Yes. And so thank you, Ellen, for joining us today. Yes, we are doing lots of shows on bipolar. And Dr. Friedman, Nutrient Power, have you met Dr. Bill Walsh and the work that he's done?
I've not, no.
I'd love to hook you up with him as well, because the work that they're doing, and we started a series this year on mental health, and we kicked it off with Dr. Bill Walsh, and every month they're going to be coming back on, Dr. Mensa, and so stay tuned for that. And I can also, Ellen, I can send you information that we've done. And so anybody have some questions for Dr. Friedman, feel free to ask. And so when you talk about all this diabetes that's happening, Dr. You know Dr. Lorraine Day. I know you've interviewed.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sure.
She says that the number one cause for osteoporosis and childhood diabetes is dairy consumption.
Mm-hmm. It's a biggie. Yeah, definitely.
And so anything that you would like to add to that you've shared so much about dairy?
Yeah, the big thing is type 2 diabetes is considered the most curable, and it's diet-based. So it's one of those that's not a life sentence. Of course, you go to the MD, they're going to say forever, and then no. Look in the mirror. Remember, take control. That's the health care of the future. You taking care of yourself, not, hey, what do you recommend, doctor? Well, he's going to recommend what he's taught and what he's told that increases the revenue. You got to get out of that machine that's this money-making machine and step away from it. It's funny. I had a lady that high blood pressure for 15 years come in. And I said, oh, you've had high blood pressure for 15 years. What happened 15 years ago? She said, my husband died. I had to run the company by myself. He did everything. It was the most stressful time of my life. I said, is that when your blood pressure went up? She goes, yeah. I go, how's life now? She says, great. I'm remarried. Life is just wonderful. I go, how do you know you still need the medication? And she looked at me like, huh? It didn't even hit her. I said, how do you really know you still need it? Life's great. How do you know you're taking all this medicine? So she got off of it, went to see her doctor in 2 months, and he did the test. He says, blood pressure. He goes, everything's good. I'll renew your prescription. She goes, I got something to tell you. I haven't been taking it. He goes, what? Well, I guess you don't need it anymore. My point is, we get so stuck in this routine that we don't stop to ask questions. We just so trusting. You got to look in the mirror, take control, do your own due diligence. It's not a forever roller coaster of these and I see that all the time. People just get stuck in this routine.
As you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. I am not against the pill. However, I am for doing everything you possibly can because our bodies were created perfect to heal. Somewhere along the way, we have altered our genes. We have altered our thoughts. And you talk about food a lot, but our thoughts play a huge role in our health as well. And so we are being, tying in with the thoughts is that we get bombarded when we're watching television with all these commercials for medications. And the pharmaceutical industry is getting very, very, very wealthy, and we are getting sick enough to need the next pill and not using what God has given us to heal our body. And it may not be perfect, nothing really is, but what if, and think about this, Dr. Friedman, what if there wasn't a pill for that symptom? Because our body is speaking to us, and the medical community calls it a symptom. And then they prescribe medication for that symptom. But really, it's our body speaking to us. So as you are listening to all these pills, you're looking at these commercials of all the side effects of these pills, but you're looking at beautiful images of people laughing, of dancing, of being dipped, of having a romantic love affair, but it could cause death. That's the last side effect that you hear there. And we're numb to it. So I want to ask you, what do you think people would do if there wasn't a pill for that symptom?
Well, what's interesting is, you never go to the grocery store and the cashier gets broccoli. Hold on. Do you need to speak to somebody, a pharmacist, about this? What do you mean? Well, broccoli's been shown to help heart disease. It's been shown to help blood pressure. It helps memory. And what are the side effects? There are none. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, there are side effects of broccoli. I will tell you, there are side effects of broccoli. Your skin will clear up. You will have great bowel movements, and you will be happy.
And instead of death at the end, that last word is life.
Life.
That's the last word, life.
Yes.
So again, like I think that there's a need for medications. I just think that they're overdone, they're overprescribed. And here's the issue.
Maybe a short term.
Well, but not only that, I think with a lot of these common, ailments that people are on, the doctor should say, why? What did you do? Tell me about your life. What are you eating? What are you doing? What's your stress life? They don't do that. It's just, here you go. Here's your diagnosis. Diagnose and adios. That's what they do. Diagnose and
all
adios.
these sayings, mister. And we've got Deidre joining us from North Carolina, and Hannah. I know she's from Florida and Kissimmee or St. Cloud or one of those places over there. So grateful for all of you tuning in. If you have any question for Dr. Friedman, now you get them one-on-one. Just ask the question. And also his book, Food Sanity, is the 15th message that I get today. I will let Dr. Friedman so he can send you a book, a signed autograph. I know I'm getting it. So I'm excited about getting your book. Now let's talk about tips on how to avoid GMO. You gave the 9 is fine, the 8 is not so great. Is there any other, because some people ask me, if it's non-GMO, is it organic? Or if is it organic, is it non-GMO? Does it have to be, if you see the word organic, does it have to be GMO free?
Well, you're better off saying two things. You look for USDA certified organic, and then I like the non-GMO project, because these folks have really made this company or this product pass stringent factors to make sure it's not GMO. And if you look for that, you're the best bet. And again, there's so many great companies out there that deliver right to your house. So you really don't have to go to grocery stores. You can go to Thrive Market and, online, and there's so many great companies that stand by their product, that have these certifications. But don't trust the label saying, that organic, if you don't see the certification, it means nothing. All natural. We do not use preservatives or pesticides. If they say that, it doesn't matter. It may be a lie. They're not bound by truth unless you see these certified entities on there. Same with nutrition products. Look for GMP certified, general manufacturing practice. That means what's in the product is from the label. It's actually, you're buying what you're paying for. GNC got into trouble with 23 nutritional products that didn't have inside what the label said on the outside.
Ooh.
So you've got to look for GMP. That means it's audited, it has to pass stringent tests, and that you're getting what you're paying for. You can't trust companies. You can't trust labels that said, all natural, 100%, no ingredient, no preservative. Don't trust it unless you see the certification,
Okay.
GMP.
Okay, so that's G as in great, M as in monkey, P as in Paul.
Yes.
Okay.
General manufacturing practices. Yes.
Got it. Okay. So what about the comment that I've had doctors come on the show, Sheedy, Dr. Sheedy, and he said that 65% of the rain contains glyphosates. And so with that in mind, that's a GMO. That's the Roundup that gets picked up. Do you know, because I looked at that study, or I went to look for it, but I got distracted. So I have not confirmed this. I like to confirm what is said on my show as well. But and it makes sense. So here we are with these products that are certified non-GMO, but if it gets rained on, then what?
It gets worse, Lily, because you go to the grocery store and you see organic produce that you're buying, no chemicals, right? Because organic means it doesn't have the pesticides, doesn't have the herbicides, doesn't have any chemicals or colorings. And if you sit there for 20 minutes and watch what happens, it's sprayed with water from the tap. Not purified reverse osmosis water, folks. That's not at grocery stores. It's tap water, which is loaded, which we talked about the last show, about all the chemicals that are coming in from water. I tested, my water has 21 chemicals, and 12 of them are carcinogenic in my tap water that you can have tested, or you can go online and find. But the point being is, you're right, you really have to be careful. I recommend, even if you get organic, wash your fruits and vegetables, wash them with a veggie wash, or make your own lemon. And lemon.
What is that recipe? Share that recipe.
Which one? What recipe?
The lemon, where you wash it with lemon.
Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to get you can do just a little bit of baking soda and lemon with water. And that's what you want to do. And you want to, what I like to do is I keep that and I'll shake it up and I'll use a spray bottle. I'll spray it on my vet and then just wipe it off, and then it's fine. It'll pull it right off.
What about the vegetables that have dirt in them? I mean.
Well, that'll take the dirt off.
I know they don't. So you soak them in, because I use a lot of.
Sometimes you can soak that. That's why it really depends. It depends what you get. But yeah, with mushrooms and all that, I soak. You can see the dirt. You're not going to sit there and wipe that stuff off. That's going to be soaked for a good 15, 20 minutes.
So it is different when you have the water. So have you heard that statistic? That 65%?
I haven't read that study. That's a lot. 65%? That seems like high to me. That's
that the rain is
now.
now.
I have to see that study. That's a lot of. So they're saying majority of rain is now glyphosate. I have to see. And interesting with glyphosate with wine. I don't know if you read, but 100% of all wines in California came back as having glyphosate. Sometimes 28 times.
Yeah, I've stopped drinking any wine from California, and I have a wonderful wine that if I do drink, it's a European wine. It's from Spain.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's
That's
very
awesome.
affordable. Yeah, very affordable. And it's organic from Spain.
That's all. That's even better. Now you're
Yeah.
real about, yeah. But organic, I think, is the key. And again, sometimes you pay a little bit more, but you know what? It's a whole lot cheaper than the medication you'll go on when you get sick from leaky gut or cancer or allergies or what all these other things, and headaches. So many of these chemicals cause headaches. So people are taking all these headache medication, don't really realize it's what they're eating. And
Yeah.
that's why a lot of the wines make people feel bad. It gives them the hot flag, gives them headaches. It's the glyphosate. It's not the wine. If you get a good wine like you're drinking, you don't have that effect. But you might drink something from California and go, I just don't feel good.
Yeah, yeah. And last, I want to talk about mercury in our fish, because we are constantly looking at wild caught, natural fed with the right grains, or grass fed. We're looking for these things that are kind of like we feel, okay, well, if we're going to have any animal products, then we can have a little bit of this. And what can you share about wild caught fish versus farm raised?
Yeah, this was my favorite part of my book because I like eating fish. And every time I would eat fish, I felt kind of like guilty. Am I doing something wrong? Is there pollution, mercury? Let me study this. I want to see these people that are eating fish getting this mercury toxicity from wild caught fish. And opposite happened, Lily. I found people in cultures around the world that eat the most fish 3 times a day. We're talking tuna. They're the epitome of good health. They don't have mercury toxicity. And then I said, well, what about females, right, that are pregnant? They say, oh, stay away from fish, the mercury. I said, all right, well, I've inbred that it's true because I've been taught that and heard that. And I researched, I said, where are these fetuses and come turning into children that are being toxic? I found the opposite. Mothers that are pregnant that eat fish, mostly tuna, their children have higher IQs than those that don't. So I said, well, where's this coming from? I know mercury's not good for us. I went a step further. I said, well, how come if the mercury's in fish, it's not affecting us? Because, Lily, if there's more selenium than mercury, it cancels out the mercury. And in my book, Food Sanity, I have all 18 of the most commonly eaten fish. And guess what? All of them have more selenium than mercury, except for one. It's called the mako shark. So folks, play it safe. If you see mako shark on the menu, don't eat it. But wild-caught fish are not going to cause mercury toxicity. The selenium wipes it out. The same with the egg. Remember how egg, it has cholesterol for years and years and years. Well, science shows, yeah, but it contains lecithin, which cancels out the cholesterol. Harvard did a 14-year study and said, eggs do not cause high cholesterol at all. None. There's no science, but we believed it. We believed that fish were bad. I'm here to tell you, it's just like eggs. It cancels out. Wild-caught eggs are fine. Stay away from farm raised, though.
Okay, I want to add one more, and it's the apple seed. So I don't know if you know G. Edward Griffin, and he wrote A World Without Cancer. And he is a writer. He's not a doctor, but he started diving into amygdalin and what is the other amygdalin, B17, apricot seeds, and how it was the benefits of it. And it also is contained in the apple seed. So they've told us to spit out the apple seed. And my parents would say, if you eat the apple seed, an apple tree is going to grow in your stomach. And so, God forbid, we would do that. But there's the saying that says an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But it's the whole apple. I've had doctor after doctor come in and say, the arsenic and the amygdalin cancels out the arsenic. When you eat it when you're eating this whole apple, the combination of the two causes it to break through a cancer cell. And there's nothing else out there, and that's why and B17 was outlawed. And people that are having apricot seeds that are not organic or non-GMO, they're not getting the same thing. So we have to be very, very careful that we look at the whole picture, not just there's arsenic in the seeds. No,
exactly.
that arsenic with the amygdalin does cancel out each other. That's interesting that you would talk about the selenium.
Well, here, so I went a step further. I said, well, why are fish getting such a bad rap? Why does the FDA warn about fish? Why does the government say fish, avoid fish? But they're praising the cow and the cattle and the beef and the pig. There's no money in wild-caught fish. There's no drugs, antibiotics, no hormones, no sulfur drugs, no dyes. It's not a money maker for them. It goes from the wild-caught ocean to the restaurant to the stores. There's no middleman. Cows is a huge middleman. The number one customer in America for big pharma, number one for antibiotics is livestock, and top on the list is cattle. 80% of antibiotics, animals, mostly cattle. So cattle is the biggest drug consumer. Of course they're going to say, oh, drink more milk. Oh, you got to have meat. You got to have beef. But
hey, they're even subsidizing it. They're subsidizing
it. Avoid that fish. It's bad. Stay away from fish.
But I mean, all the advice that we're getting from the powers that be, the FDA, all the advice that we're getting, this take this, not that, is counterintuitive. It's against what really heals us, because if you're looking at fish, the omegas of the fish, they help with brain function. Mm-hmm. The seeds of the apple and the fish that have the selenium that cancels it. Those are all things that make us smarter. Like you were saying, the mercury, I wonder if the mercury in our mouths from the silver and mercury that they were giving us, maybe that was causing toxicity, because now there's nothing offsetting it.
But it's funny how if you go on the FDA, says, wait a minute, okay, so you're saying that mercury and fish bad, but where's the information on mercury and fillings? It's not there. Ready? In my book, I did the comparison. There is 27 parts per billion of mercury in filling. 24 hours a day, every day. The highest mercury level in fish is 0.6 parts per billion. So to put that in comparison, so forget the numbers, let's put it in comparison. $20,000, 1 penny in $20,000 is the amount of mercury that's in the highest ranked fish. 1 penny in 20,000, okay? Ready? 200,000 pennies, 200,000 pennies in $20,000 is what you get in the mercury, in the fillings. So amazing. That's 24/7. Every time you eat, it's there, but that's okay. And vaccines, the mercury in vaccines, that's okay, according to them.
Yeah.
And ready? There's mercury in cattle. No one talks about that. It's only fish.
Well, they're probably vaccinating the cattle, right?
Vaccinating as well. Yes, definitely. But high fructose corn syrup loaded with mercury. You don't hear about that. It's big money. High fructose corn syrup, mercury. The point being is everybody's so afraid of mercury when it comes to fish, and fish has selenium. It even cancels out the little bit that's in there. So that's the biggest myth I love busting, because now I can eat fish and not feel guilty, and I can recommend it without saying, I don't know, are they going to get, toxic from mercury?
Now, okay. So you talked about wild caught. Let's talk about farm raised here, because now it's being called wild hatcheries. Like they're in the wild, but they're still confined to their area, and they're beginning to call that wild caught too.
Yeah, they're trying to do that because the news is out that farm raised. It used to be everybody was bragging about farm raised. Oh, a waitress would come up. Oh, our salmon's farm raised, and smile like people go, oh, that means it's fresh. Me, I'm like, why are you telling people that? You're bragging, like that's exciting. That's going to make us want it. But now the news is getting out, so they're playing that game. The problem with farm raised, the number one eaten fish in America is salmon. 90% of it is farm raised.
I know, it's 90%. Hard to find it.
So here's how to find it, and I share it in my book. There's a little way. Remember the little secret about the follow the numbers? Mm-hmm. Salmon are professional swimmers, right? They swim upstream. They're professional. Have you ever seen a professional human swimmer, a marathon swimmer, that has any fat? They're lean, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right? Swimmers are lean. One of the leanest fish is salmon. So if you see a piece of salmon, I don't care if it says wild caught, do not believe labels. Consumer Report found 52% of all labels fraud. Do not believe if it says wild caught. Use your eyes. Here's your eyes. Ready? You look. If you see white fat striations, in there. Cover of my book shows wild caught. I don't know if you can see it there.
Mm-hmm.
You see, where is it? Right there. Let's see, right here. There it is.
Yeah.
So you can see that. That is wild caught. If it has white striations, that's fat. It's farm raised, because wild caught swim. They're free. Salmon that are caged don't get to swim. They're not free, and they become fatter. Not only that, they're gray because they don't eat krill. So they're dyed. They literally have to pick the color they want, like Benjamin Moore paint. What do I want my kitchen to look like? And they're dyed the color that the farmer wants. So you'll see a different color. And I actually
it's a pellet, right? It's a pellet.
It's a paint pellet that they chew up there. So if you see a nice, deep, dark, deep color that's pure and solid, that's wild caught. If you see it orange or pink or red with the white striations, trust your eyes. I don't care what the label says.
Very good. Very good. And we'll let that be the last word. But this is not the last time, because Dr. Friedman is a friend of the show and we get him on from time to time. And so I want to encourage you to like the show, share the show. There's lots of information here that is not being shared in mainstream media. And so we need to get this information out. And, you know, this is not to scare anybody. It's to empower you to make the choice. Empowered. It's a freedom of informed choice. That's what it is. So that now you know that if you see the white on there, and I tell you what, I have to say, when I first learned about farm raised, I was at a grocery store. I don't want to say the name just in case somebody, you know, they want to sue me. But I went to this and I said, I would like, you know, I want wild caught. Well, we don't have wild caught. I said, well, you only have farm raised. I heard it's not good. And he goes, this department, this place would never give you anything that would be harmful for you. That was at the beginning. I had enough intuition to say, let me learn more, but I trusted the white coat. I trusted the guy, the meat guy, the one that was trying to sell me the meat. And we've got to learn it for ourselves. That's why I'm so passionate about doing the show. And I know that's why you're so passionate, Dr. Friedman, about getting this information, is there's a lot of people out there that have to benefit. They have a benefit to gain. That's why I don't have sponsors that are peddling a drug. That's why I don't have certain sponsors that they just cannot, they would not be happy with my spiel, because we need to empower ourselves to make the right choice. And I love what you're doing, Dr. Friedman, for your patients and for your followers as well. So thank you so much for what you do.
Great. Always a pleasure, Lily.
Yes, yes. And for those of you on YouTube, Facebook Live that are still there, and please like us, share us, help us grow the show, subscribe, do all those wonderful things that show that you appreciate what we're doing today. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop our stream and our YouTube. So thank you so much. Say goodbye, Dr. Friedman.
Bye-bye.
There you go. Here we go. And now I get you to myself.